welcome back to Flipping English in our series on essay writing. Today we're going to be learning about writing conclusion. However, for my students, the first thing I want them to do is reflect on what they learnt in yesterday's lesson. So I want them to remember what they learned about writing paragraphs. So going through the peel technique, and I want them to write down in the comment section below 3 things that they teach someone else about writing body paragraphs. So I want you to pause and go into that writing now. Brilliant, we're out of pause and we're into the conclusion. This is the big finale. And look, the first thing that you want to do with your conclusion, well, look, this is actually arguable. Some teachers like to teach a link. So you'd write something like in conclusion or to sum up. Personally, I don't love that. I think if it's your final paragraph, people know that it's the conclusion. However, some people really like to signpost, and look, signposting in your essay writing is very good. So that's potentially something you could do. The next thing that you would do is you'd partly admit that the opposing point of view, so the counter argument against your thesis statement, is also true. However, then you want to slam home that no, your thesis statement is the one that's correct. And remember, you want to use different words than you used in your introduction. From there, then you want to maybe make a call to action, or maybe even pose a hypothetical question in the conclusion. And then you want to, again, finish with something good, which could be, I love it when students really finish with like an opinion of their own. I mean, after all, this is the conclusion. Or it could be a rhetorical question, or again that kind of call to action that finishes the conclusion off. But do your best to make it interesting. And yes, that's the conclusion. So look, let's look at it. Giddy up. So here's an example of a conclusion. It's from the essay that I put up about the Hunger Games. The conclusion opens with that counter-argument where you're offering because remember, the thesis statement has to be arguable, and this is the other side of that argument. However, then we go into the dark blue, and this is the statement of why the thesis statement is superior. Then in the light blue it goes into a bit about an opinion, and remember the conclusion's a lot about what your opinion is, and it finishes in the pink with a call to action. Now there's 3 things that you should not do in a conclusion. The first is don't just copy out your introduction. This is a really common error with conclusions where, again, they just do the same things, they just summarise what's been spoken about in the essay. And look, how you can make sure that you're not just copying out the introduction is make sure you're changing the word order and replacing the keywords with synonyms, and even cut and paste them, put them side by side and just look, is it the same, and make your changes then. Don't copy out your thesis statement, and again it's that same thing of just changing the word order and replacing the keywords. And finally, don't copy out the question, instead explain how your thesis statement answers it. In conclusion, so look, let's just go recap what we've learnt in today's lesson. So we've learnt about writing an effective conclusion in an essay. We've briefly talked about potentially using a link in. We've produced that counter argument, so we've argued the alternative to our thesis statement. We've then gone in and gone bang with our thesis statement and said this is why this is correct. And we've made sure that that's different from our introduction. We did go through a bit of a list of don't do this in your conclusion. These are some common mistakes. We then had the essay moving towards maybe a call to action or a hypothetical question, and finishing with that big finale, which could be a rhetorical question. Great if it's an opinion, or again maybe that call to action to finish off, and trying to make it as interesting as possible. Well, look, thank you so much for watching. For my students, I want you to write down 3 things in the comment section below about writing a conclusion and writing an effective conclusion. And again, as always, imagine that you're teaching it to someone else, because tomorrow you probably will be. And look, if there are things that I've missed for everyone else, please write it down. Let's be a community of learners. Great. Well, thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in tomorrow's lesson, which is going to be on essay editing. Thanks for watching.